Men today are seeing 50 to 100 times more naked women by the age of 18 than a man in the 1960s saw in his entire life. Crazy, right? And back then, relationships lasted longer. Could it be because men's brains weren't rewired by constant access to explicit content? Now, with just a few clicks, men can search for hundreds of explicit images and videos in minutes. A healthy monogamous relationship doesn't stand a chance against that. Porn isn't just about sex anymore. It's changing how men see themselves, how they see women, and how they approach relationships. It's not just physical, it's emotional, and it's tearing connections apart. Porn is everywhere, and it's no surprise why. Sites like Pornhub, YouPorn, and Xvideos offer endless content at zero cost. Gone are the days of sneaking into a shady store or buying a magazine under the counter. Now all it takes is a quick search, a few clicks, and boom, you've got access to every fantasy imaginable. The process? Simple. You're bored, stressed, or curious, so you grab your phone or laptop, type in a few words, and within seconds there are hundreds of options at your fingertips. No strings attached, no effort required. It's quick, easy, and gives you that rush instantly. And that's the problem. It's too easy. When something this addictive becomes this accessible, it stops being a guilty indulgence and turns into part of daily life. Over 80% of men watch porn regularly, and over 30% of women report doing the same. The average age of first exposure? Just 11 years old. The problem? Porn works on the same principle as any addictive substance. Your brain gets hooked on the rush of dopamine. The more you watch, the more your brain gets used to it, and before you know it, you need something more extreme to feel the same excitement. It's why so many men find themselves escalating from simple videos to hardcore categories they never thought they'd be into. What started as curiosity turns into a cycle of seeking something new, something more shocking, something that can cut through the numbness. And with endless options available at any moment, there's no limit how far it can go. This isn't just about watching a few videos anymore. It becomes a pattern. You're not just looking for pleasure, you're chasing novelty. And when you condition your brain like that, real life starts feeling dull. Porn addiction is more common than most people think. Even celebrities who appear to have it all have admitted how it nearly ruined them. Terry Crews, he talked about how porn almost ended his marriage. He had to get help to break free and save his relationship. Russell Brand, he admitted that porn was a big part of his struggles, and he's been pretty vocal about how damaging it can be. And then there's Chris Rock. He joked about it in his stand-up special, but he admitted that porn was one of the reasons his marriage fell apart. These are guys who had fame, money, and access to everything, yet porn still managed to mess things up for them. Porn is like a dopamine slot machine. It gives you quick hits of pleasure, but over time, you need more and more to feel the same excitement. Every time you watch, your brain gets flooded with dopamine, the feel-good chemical that makes you want more. But here's the catch. The more you watch, the more your brain builds up a tolerance. What used to give you a rush starts to feel ordinary. And here's where it gets worse. Real-life intimacy just can't compete with the constant stream of explicit scenes, wild angles, and over-the-top fantasies. The brain starts to crave that intensity, and suddenly, your partner, no matter how much you care about them, just doesn't excite you anymore. You're more turned on by strangers on a screen than by the person who's right there with you, and you hate it, but you can't stop. This isn't about attraction. It's about your brain being hijacked to prefer fantasy over reality. Real life, with all its imperfections, just can't match something so artificial. Porn doesn't just lower desire, it redirects it. Over time, your brain gets hooked on the endless variety that porn offers. Different faces, scenarios, and fantasies, and that changes everything. Instead of finding fulfillment with one person, your brain starts to crave what porn gives you: constant novelty. And here's the kicker. This craving doesn't stop with porn. It spills over into real life. making long-term relationships feel dull. Studies show that men who watch porn frequently report lower satisfaction in their relationships and are more likely to cheat. Why? Because their brains are already wired to seek out something new, just like they do online. When your brain is trained to expect a revolving door of fantasy, one partner just doesn't feel like enough. Ever heard of erectile dysfunction in guys under 30? It's real, and porn is a big reason why. Here's how it happens. Watching porn over and over rewires your brain to link arousal with explicit videos, constant variety, and extreme scenarios. Eventually, your brain gets so used to the rush from porn that real-life partners just don't do it anymore, no matter how much you're attracted to them. The problem isn't your partner, it's your brain. You've conditioned it to need the excitement of porn to feel aroused. And for your partner, it's devastating. She knows you're attracted to her, but she can feel the distance. Up to 31% of young men report erectile dysfunction despite being physically healthy. It's not their bodies, it's the rewiring in their heads. Porn doesn't just mess with desire, it messes with your ability to form real emotional bonds. In healthy relationships, intimacy releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone that helps you feel closer to your partner. But porn skips all that. It gives you physical pleasure without any emotional connection. Over time, this messes with your brain's ability to associate intimacy with closeness. Real relationships feel less fulfilling because they require vulnerability and effort, two things porn completely skips. When porn changes men, it changes relationships, and that affects women too. When men lose interest in intimacy, crave variety, or emotionally disconnect, it leaves women feeling unwanted, inadequate, or pressured to live up to impossible expectations. For many women, being in a relationship with someone hooked on porn feels like competing with a fantasy they can never match. It's not just a physical disconnect, it's an emotional one too. And when connection disappears, so does trust. Real intimacy requires vulnerability, but porn trains you to avoid it. Porn gives you pleasure without the risk of rejection or the awkwardness of real connection. It's easy, safe, and risk-free, but the more you rely on it, the harder it becomes to open up in real life. Without vulnerability, there's no intimacy, and without intimacy, there's no relationship. Just two people going through the motions, sharing a space but never really connecting. Porn sets a standard that real relationships just can't meet. When men expect their relationships to mirror the excitement of porn, disappointment is inevitable. And for their partners, it's exhausting. No matter what they do, it never feels like enough. People today know how fleeting relationships are. Nothing lasts. Staying together feels like the exception, not the rule. And while there are many reasons for this, one of the biggest is porn, due to its silently rewiring men's brains. Porn doesn't just change what men watch, it changes how they think, how they connect, and how they experience intimacy. It conditions the brain to crave endless novelty, making it harder to find satisfaction with just one partner. The numbers don't lie. Over 40% of couples report that porn has negatively affected their relationship, and research shows it's directly linked to lower satisfaction and stability. Porn isn't just changing men, it's tearing apart the foundations of relationships today. If you found this video insightful, you might like another one on a similar topic. Click on the thumbnail to watch or keep exploring. Also, please comment, like, and subscribe to the channel.